Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Hauntoverse Updates. Well, Brian Bass, how's it going this evening?
You know, I'm doing everything I can here, Andy. Doing everything I can here to get excited about this, right? We're
a month out. We're like a month and a few days out from the beginning of the haunt season. We've got, for the first time ever, and we'll have a future update on this, we got for the first time ever, Cedar Point has announced their new stuff before Horror Nights. What is going on here?
What's happening?
What is going on here that we have basically nothing from Horror Nights at all?
And by basically nothing, what we mean is if you go to HalloweenHorrorNights.com and you follow the Orlando link, we won't even touch right now on Singapore, but if you go to Orlando and click About, it's like it's June, maybe May. You have Ash vs. Evil Dead, which is new. That is an announcement. We all thought that was being dropped off. There it is. Very excited about that. And then Shining and American Horror Story, and that's it. You scroll up and down. You don't even need to. It's 3. And what's crazy is, Andy, do you remember when we first did these updates, like in April or
yeah,
something ridiculous? I was coming out of my skin because it was haunt season in spring. We had announcements in spring, and that's crazy. And you guys haven't seen this for a while because
there's been nothing.
Nothing's happened.
Nothing's happened. Honestly, we got the only announcements we have so far for Orlando, anything new, what was basically confirming what we already knew with Shining and American Horror Story. And then we did get the Ash versus Evil Dead announcement, which I think is going to be pretty cool. I haven't watched the second season yet. I watched the first season. I really love the first season. And so I'm still working on getting around to the second season. So that's going to be a pretty cool experience. Then for Hollywood, the only thing different we got out there is just this week we got a Terror Tram announcement that they're going to bring back all the classics with Chucky, Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, that they're all going to be on the Terror Tram. So, so far, not a whole lot inspiring me to go down to Orlando. I've been kind of waiting for the big Death Eaters announcement, and I just don't know if it's coming at this point.
I don't know if it's coming. And let's catch some people up here. You and I have gone back and forth. Pretty much, guys, Andy's been waiting on me for me to bite the bullet and book to Orlando. And every week, and I said, this is the weekend, because in my mind, there's no way we were going to go another 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 2 weeks without an announcement. And here we are. And it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to go down there. And even that, they've dropped their ticket prices. And we were pumped about that. I'm still excited. Their ticket prices are cheaper this year across the board for the most part. But we also only have 3 houses announced. And for flights, I have my flight in a tab that I check every day to make sure it's still there and not filling up. And if it's not going to fill up, I'm going to wait just a little longer because, we are afraid. A lot of people, I'm not one of them. I know House of Horrors was not everybody's favorite. I enjoyed it, but it was thrown together. And then Purge House, that's when I really kind of started to feel what other fans felt with House of Horrors. Harry Potter, speaking of, I like the atmosphere. Purge was thrown together because they lost the Scream, allegedly. They lost the Scream copyrights and that whole. So, and that's been our discussion all summer. Is that what we're seeing right now? And funny enough, everyone called Ash versus Evil Dead. Everyone said Ash versus Evil Dead is the IP that's dropping. That's the one we thought we would not see, and that was having the trouble. With that emerging into all the parks, and again, I agree, incredible show. If you're not watching it, you need to go see. Even if you've never seen the other Evil Deads, watch this show. It is fantastic. It's going to make a fun house. I really think so. The Evil Dead houses were great. I'm excited for it. So what's the hang up then? That's the question. Is it the death? You and I were like Death Eaters last year. If you remember last year when Death Eaters, we wanted to fly across the ocean to go see these Death Eaters. And we're like, no, sit back. Orlando's going to do it. Orlando's going to do it. And we're sitting here in August like, Orlando's going to do it, right? Please tell me Orlando's going to do it.
And you know, Brian, I know we've been talking about going to Orlando for a very long time, but, you know, I got some bad news for you here this evening. I actually booked my trip to LA because I couldn't wait anymore. I said, I can't wait on Orlando. And to be completely honest with you, Orlando's been irritating me lately with and it's not just for horror nights. The horror nights is just an icing on the cake. Their decision to scrap Dragon Challenge really irritated me. And I don't feel the need to go back down there and support them. So, you know, I saw an opportunity. I found a really cheap flight to LA for Columbus Day weekend. There's the ability to go to Not Scary Farm, which I've always wanted to do.
That's huge. That's a trip in itself. I mean, I'd go out there just for that.
You know, and then couple that with a trip to Magic Mountain, who a lot say is a pretty decent haunt. It's not amazing, but it's decent. And then I'm probably gonna end up going to Horror Nights Hollywood and experiencing it there, which is a lot of the same and getting the same type of atmosphere. So,
but you use Terra Tram. But let's go back a second. I wanted to comment on Terra Tram, and this is a point of discussion for us. I had about an 8-second reaction to Terra Tram. I saw it and I thought, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Tick, 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 tick. Wow, that's really recycled. You know, it just feels, you know, again, I don't know what their plan is this year. At August 6th, feels like it's not the plan that they set out last year in the spring that they were trying to accomplish. I love Leatherface. I'm okay with him being at any event ever because chainsaws are great for haunts and it's a great way to motivate it. But you have all these classic horror icons. I've complained about this for years. If I want to see Jason, Freddy, Michael, Chuck, I can go down the street and go literally 8 minutes down that road and I will see them this Halloween. Everybody has them. That's what they do. Again, is that a fair argument? I don't know. I go to Horror Nights for new and for American Horror Story. No one else has that. Exorcist. No one else has that. Ash versus Evil Dead. No one else has that. Their original content blows every haunted house in this area mostly out of the water. So it just kind of feels like Plan A fell through, Plan B fell through. Crap. Well, we do have Leatherface and all these old costumes, and let's make a Terror Tram out of it. At the end of the day, I'm not mad about it because it'll be great. I'm sure it will be. You praised it the last time you went. It's a very, very unique attraction regardless. And we can, if you want to get nitpicky, there's an age-old Halloween Horror Nights, debate. Does it really matter what the monsters are? Does it really matter? It's the same thing, just different things jumping out at you. And I see that. I get that. I'm torn. It depends. Because if there's content I connect to, it's going to go that much deeper. My first experience ever, The Strangers, was the scariest thing I saw that whole year because of how much that movie scared me. So because I connected to the content, that really had an impact. So I think there's that argument. But yes, at the end of the day, every haunted house is a variation of the same thing happening, Well, and so I'm happy to see it.
I think there's something to be said there too, because, like you said, it's the same thing, but I think it does work in the opposite way against the house, that if they start trying to tell the story too much, I kind of felt like this in the Halloween 2 house last year, is they were trying to tell too much of a story. And they lost sight of the scares and want to put people in the movie more so than being scared. And I thought that lost focus in the house. Whereas the American Horror Story house last year, even though I've never watched a lot of that at all, I still felt like it was a good haunt versus Halloween, where I thought there was too much storytelling going on. So I think the IPs can sometimes work against it, So for the Terror Tram, like you said, I did the Purge Terror Tram 2 years ago. I love the experience. I do feel that it's a recycled concept to begin with, because I don't know how far they deviate off the same path every year. So I've only done it once, so I don't really know when it actually goes ahead and moves to different areas, or if it's just the same, the same parade route, as I call, every single year.
That'll be interesting, because will it be, your first Halloween Horror Nights experience? So you have mind blown all over the wall. And I think that's most people when they see Halloween Horror Nights, and that's why we keep coming back despite some of the frustrations and the amount of financial investment you have to make to get to this event, especially if you're not in state. You remember that first time, and it's still on a scale that no other park, in my opinion, can touch. We'll find out if you get to Not Scary, and if I get so frustrated with this that I tag along, even if it's for a day or two to get out there. It just might happen. But it'll be interesting because that attraction was so unique. It really captured you. You made me want to go do it because it was such an awesome idea. The second time around, will it still hold that? Will it be different enough, or will it be what your following Halloween Horror Night trips start to become, no matter who you are? Even if I love the event, we love the event, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. But you start to realize the routine. You start to realize how they do things. And it'll be interesting to see how you feel about that. And if that theme works really well, because also clustering all those icons together of horror, not of the event, how's it gonna play out? Are they gonna have their own section? Are they teaming together? What does that look like? Chucky, I know people are excited about it. Chucky's one of those ones you don't ever see in a haunt because it's really hard to pull off, honestly. And people are like, oh, that's awesome. And then they see it and they're like, maybe it's not. Maybe on paper it's awesome. Yeah. When they did the Chucky house, and I believe Hollywood's done it too, they shrank you down to Chucky size. And so that's why Chucky was the same size as you. That's fine. I know when he had him in the streets, maybe last year or 2 years ago. I didn't go last year. 2 years ago, the classic where it was the black and white color switch. Great concept, not executed perfectly, but still fun. They got a shorter person, and it worked well enough. But it's a doll. How do you make that look good? So, and are they going to be working together as more details come out? I'll be excited. But yeah, right now there's facades going up. There is work happening. We just don't know what it is.
We don't know what's going on.
And they want me a month out to drop a few $100 to get down there and go see it for a single night. And it's tough. But then again, it's going to be good regardless of what they do. Even at its crappiest, it's still going to be better than 95% of the haunts in this area. Yeah. So.
We have something interesting here this evening. We have a special guest coming on that someone's calling into the show right now. So let's bring them on and see.
All right. I'm excited to get some outside input on this. We get a little so we get my. Well then, Mr. What should we call you here?
I am Mr. Moreland.
Mr. Moreland. Thank you for joining us on this special occasion. We are discussing currently Halloween Horror Nights. You have been to the event, yes?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're a big fan of it, I imagine.
Absolutely.
So we're in August right now. And if you go to Halloween Horror Nights website, we have 3 houses announced.
Okay.
Now, how do you feel about that? It's 1 month away, and Andy, I wish I had researched this, but at this point, I'm fairly confident every year we have had almost every house announced, if not every single house either announced or leaked at this point.
Yeah, I feel that way too.
What do you think? So what do you think, Mr. Moreland? Is this a publicity stunt, or are they scrambling on something that didn't work? What do you feel about this right now?
It's one of those things where I feel like at this point in years past, we have, like you said, been aware of at least the majority of the houses. Can you refresh my memory in the last couple of seasons? How many houses in total were there at the event?
We are up to 9 2 years in a row, right, Andy?
Yeah.
Have we done 9 2 years in a row, which was a big deal 2 years ago when we got 9. Technically, it wasn't really 9 because we had Walking Dead. Thank God that's gone. Well, in question, side note, is Hollywood keeping their...
Well, I think Hollywood is considering their stand-up, their all-year walkthrough a haunt now.
A house. Okay. Well, we won't even. I'm not even going to touch on that. So yes, we were up to 9 houses, Mr. Moreland, and we have 3 announced. And may I note, not a single scare zone. And I don't know if even shows. I don't even know if they've said anything about shows at this point.
I can only imagine that for a park like Universal, that this has got to be some kind of publicity stunt aimed at driving attention, as we're talking about right now. because clearly they've only announced 3 houses, no scare zones, no shows. This is Universal Studios we're talking about here. It's not like they don't have the money and the resources to be unprepared for something like this. So unless everything has happened to fall through the cracks, which I don't think it has, they have backup plans here. They're not going to go into this situation and say, yeah, this is all we got, and if something fails, then game over.
That's an interesting point. I like that because, Andy, you know what that makes me think of, and I can't even. Thank you, Mr. Skullface Moreland, for bringing this to light. Let's look at Mean Streak and whatever Silver Dollar City is doing.
Yeah,
this isn't new in amusement park world where people just don't announce something clearly, even though it's happening. Mm-hmm. And I never considered the fact that it would be publicity, only because it's the majority of their stuff. Because again, the originals, they have to have originals this year, Andy.
Well,
why have we not heard anything about that?
Well, there's been a few rumors coming out just recently that some people have posted on different Facebook groups, proposed maps for what's coming. And what it seems like is that there's going to be more original houses than normal this year, which I think maybe that's Universal listening to the fans. Because a lot of people have been complaining about the number of IPs, especially the last few years, where it's just been it's dominated the event, and now they're trying to get back to the original house concept, and maybe they're keeping it a secret. I don't know, for a reason. I don't know how it harms you by not releasing what those original houses are at this point.
That's true.
I don't know.
It's frustrating, and maybe it's on purpose, maybe it's not. Does it have anything to do with the newly announced Nintendo edition taking over Kids Zone? Now, we saw this in the past. I mentioned House of Horrors. Moreland, you might remember from Zim. I've already messed up the name. I know
Zim Moreland, that is correct.
Moreland,
I didn't tell you my first name, but you knew it. I'm impressed.
Sorry, you look familiar. Is it a Cubs jersey back? Anyway, so when
I'm actually a member of the team, but I'm incognito.
Very good. Well, Andy here is from the great Windy City of
I am,
overrated pizza. But we will.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
So
what the hell?
That was uncalled for.
Yeah,
I am offended personally.
So House of Horrors, we're going back. I'm sorry, everybody. House of Horrors existed because they had a house going into one of their old sound stages, and Attractions was like, hey, you can't build there. We're building Transformers like yesterday. We're demoing the building, deuces. And they had to get the sets back out of that building and throw together this other house. And I'm wondering if they've learned from their mistakes, or if this Kids Zone thing has messed any kind of plans up, and Universal, they favor progression more than they favor present.
Well,
and we know that because just look at the history of the rides that they've got. B, when I worked there that year as a warrior trying to get your Dragon Challenge. We brought that up, man.
The second time Dragon Challenge has been bitched about here.
It'll not be the last, because I haven't even processed that yet, But when I'm working here at Halloween Horror Nights in costume, in character, trying to get ready to do my scare. Oh, hold! Here goes a dump truck through the park as we go work on this attraction and break all the atmosphere. So I don't know, and maybe it is. We're all talking about it. It's created quite a buzz, but it's to a point where you just booked. I mean, let's call it how it is. You are not going to Orlando Halloween.
I'm not.
You are going to Hollywood. You are going to California, and you might hit Halloween Horror Nights over there, but you're looking at other parks completely. Yeah. I, who would have booked a month ago, am sitting on a flight right now because I don't know. And that's the type of attention it's going to get.
Do you think that could be part of the issue here? Are they trying to keep the numbers down because it does take so long to get into some of these rides? Obviously, there's the Fast Pass option. But aside from that, even, I did bring up the point that Universal is a giant entity. Clearly, well, theoretically, they should know what they're doing. But have they been going through so much transition recently that this kind of has fallen to the back burner? I think it's really interesting because, to your point, you're sitting on a flight. Why should people book if they don't know what they're going to be seeing? And
correct.
anybody is like yourself or myself, and we're wanting to plan ahead to get cheaper airfare, cheaper hotel fare, we're making these decisions now or 2 months ago. And if we don't know what we're seeing, it's a little difficult to commit that kind of money to something that we don't know what we're getting.
And we before we go and hold on to that, Andy, I just want to add to you, we just discussed before you joined, doesn't matter truly, because Halloween Horror Nights can be brought down to it's just different costumes, but you're going to get, does the content really matter? And I find myself torn that it kind of does, even though in some of the houses are verbatim almost the same path. You can recognize sets, where the scares are in the sets. But if a Dementor is going to chase me down a street versus a werewolf, I'm booking my ticket tonight. If Dementors were announced tonight, Andy and I would book tonight.
Well, I'd find a different weekend to go, but if they announce Death Eaters, I'm going down a different weekend.
So I don't know. I don't know but Andy, where were you taking us there?
And I to Mr. Moreland's point, I thought to myself, I've been very judgmental about Universal's decisions overall the past few years, that they opened up Volcano Bay and it was a disaster. It's not even done yet. They're still fixing it by all accounts. The ride choice that they've been selecting as of late, starting with King Kong, I think is where the disaster of Universal started. I've been railing on this for years, that where's the Jurassic World ride? The biggest movie of 2 years ago still doesn't have a damn attraction at your park, and you own the IP. What the hell is going on in your office that you don't have a Jurassic World ride yet? But you have a stupid-ass King Kong ride. Like,
I think they're waiting on the rights from Jimmy Buffett to include him running away with his margaritas.
Like, seriously, like this park has done nothing but make bad decisions as of late, and maybe this is just an extension of it. Maybe Universal is not as structured or decision focused as we may think it is. Maybe they're in a tailspin because Disney's about to kick the shit out of them for the foreseeable future.
That's a whole nother debate. Can we just talk about anybody who's watching this show that knows this man right here? I don't know if this is where the Bach actually lines up. This is Andy. Are you?
No, I'm the other way.
Mr. Anti-Disney, like 2 years ago, who it gives me the hardest time in chat for even mentioning a trip there, is now like they're gonna win and they're gonna kill Universal. But again, they've done things to change his mind on that. Avatar Land, which no one cared about, for a solid running joke in Bill and Ted's Halloween Adventure at Halloween.
Which we don't even know if it's going to be there this year.
We don't even know if that joke's going to be there this year. The Avatar joke.
If Bill and Ted's is gone, then I'm never going to Universal Studios again. That is a hard no for me.
So, it's true. Maybe they don't know what they're just, they're rapidly trying to figure out. Park numbers are down, even with Disney, with everything they're doing. Avatar Land was wildly successful. Star Wars is going to be the best addition to an amusement park since Potterland, and probably bigger. And they're still having low numbers. Their numbers are still down.
Yeah.
Things are still happening. And like you said, Volcano Bay, this whole fall trip was supposed to be Halloween Horror Nights, Volcano Bay, Halloween Horror Nights. And now I might go down for a day and do one of them. It's hard.
It's ridiculous. And maybe with those numbers, maybe they're not pulling in the money, and the money just isn't there to invest in Horror Nights anymore. So so now they have to work with a budget like everyone else does. And
it's true.
And maybe
Halloween
that's the issue.
Horror Nights accounted for the majority of the park's income for the whole year until Wizarding World opened. Then that took precedent. And hey, what have we seen get completely? Because Dragon's Challenge is going away because of Harry Potter. I sat quiet when they killed the best line of a ride ever on the planet. The original Dueling Dragons line had better storytelling in it than a Transformers movie, just the line. And now we kill that for a Harry Potter line, fine, whatever, and then this ride goes away completely. And we don't even know. I mean, we all deep down know that they're not going to give it anybody. It's not going to be sold. It's going to be completely demoed.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking because they're two very strong B&M coasters, and we're going to get some VFX coaster that doesn't work half the time. So
yeah. Well,
we're off of Horror Nights at this point.
Yeah.
By the way, if you want a good laugh, if you don't believe us, if you don't believe that Universal doesn't have their stuff together, here's what I want you to do. I want you to type HalloweenHorrorNights.com.
Yeah.
And click on the Japan link and tell me what happens. Or better yet, click on the Singapore link and tell me what happens. Because I guarantee you, it will show you exactly how prepared they are for these events.
A month out. A month out.
A month out, I'm sitting at an error screen.
It's all PR. It's all marketing. Watch
marketing floor.
What's going to happen? Actually, what they're waiting for is they're going to tell you that Halloween Horror Nights has been replaced by Harry Potter Land. More Harry Potter at this event. It's actually just going to be an army of Durmstrang people just running at you, and then they're going to fly away. And then that's the event.
May I add, would still be better than when the whole event was Walking Dead. Because that was the worst event.
Oh my God. So,
And maybe it is, because here's the thing. I want a book just to see how it's going to be. And it's kind of working, and it pisses me off that it's kind of working. That I'm like, well, let's go see what's going on. And they're just like, these stupid morons.
See, they'll buy tickets even if we don't announce anything.
Some marketing guy. I was sad like 8 years ago when they stopped doing the website reveals and then they started doing the Facebook reveals, and now they're like, guys, we don't even have to put on the screen. They'll come anyway.
There's booze. They'll be there. Anyway, I think we'll wrap it up there for this evening. So as always, thank you for joining us. We'll keep you updated on any announcements from Halloween Horror Nights, even though we expect very few more. You'll probably just show up at the first night and find out what's going on.
I'll go live. I will go live when I'm not at work to be like, so apparently we're going through this house, this house, this house.
You're actually going to have to wait until the final week of Horror Nights to get all of the houses, which is just going to drive everyone to one
zones are.
They add one every week.
Exactly.
A new house.
That's the publicity.
Get people to use that frequent fear pass more. Anyway, thanks for joining us here on Hauntoverse Update. I'm, of course, Andrew Barchuk from Chicago, Illinois.
I'm Brian Bass from Nashville. I'll be sticking to the local haunts this year for you.
I'm Zim Moreland from Parts Unknown.
And as always, scare on, scare warriors.